Okay, I want to show you that these things that are happening around the world, I think, are connected. Like I said, Webster's connected to Sandy Hook, connected to Boston, which I didn't speak too much about that. But here is Malaysian Air Flight MH370 that went missing. And I'm going to use the videos that I made about Webster to show you that, some of the same symbols that were involved in Webster are involved in this. And I'm going to start with the flight number MH370. If you remember, the M was in my video number, let's see, that's 2 of 9, where we talked about, I'm trying to figure out what that M was. At first I thought it might have been the Scorpio insignia, but the Scorpio insignia with the M's got a hook and an arrow at the end of it, so it's not the same. But what this guy was saying is, I was just looking up what the meaning of, esoteric meaning of M is he's saying, which I knew was the 13th letter, but he's saying that they're actually trying to subconsciously, demonize the letter M and the letter 13 because what he's saying, and this is really interesting stuff because it's kind of along the conclusion I'm going to make at the end, but he's saying that in the third dimension you have this 13 vibration, that this 13 vibration is the closest to the truth before it bounces back, and that we're working our way into this fourth dimension, and that they're trying to demonize M so people subconsciously, I guess, or whatever, reject it or don't respond to it. And if notice this guy was saying we're trying to get into this fourth dimension, which maybe, and I'm not saying anything other than kind of come to mind, maybe that's where that plane went, another dimension. It's really kind of interesting. And it really makes sense, especially with what I'm going to conclude at the end of what I'm showing you here, as to what their number 13 is all about. And then he comes up and he talks about vibrating 13 and this Mayan Zolkin, which I don't know a lot about, but it's pretty interesting. And then if you want to read the rest of that, there it is. But there was another interesting thing about the M that went along with the pentagram that I thought, and this said a lot of the same things that this other person said about the letter M, and some history about the number 13 and the zodiac here. But on this one, the one that I wanted to point out is right here. In addition, the letter M has 5 points just as a star. The pentagram is significant in Gnosis as representative of the goddess. And so I just thought that was kind of a connection to the pentagram, with the 5 points and then the 5 points in that video. But remember, in that video, that guy was talking about things put within the radius, and the town of Webster is within the radius of that obelisk of the 22 miles, and there probably is another radius outside of that. It probably doesn't stop at 22. Okay, I want to spend a little bit more time on this Phoenix and this M. And I want to relate this M to, believe it or not, Miley Cyrus. And there's another reason, if I can link him to Thomas to Miley Cyrus. So now here's Miley Cyrus, and she started, as everybody knows this, she started sticking her tongue out, and I think there's a reason that she's doing this now, and I'm going to tell you that a little bit later, but this is actually Miley's tongue coming out party, and it was June 19th. They actually put a date to her tongue coming out party, which I thought was interesting. And and it's 2013. So you look at this date, and you got June 19th, 2013. So you add those numbers up. June is 6, so you got 9 and 1, 10 plus 6 is 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So that date on Miley Cyrus's tongue coming out party is 22. Okay, and see this? There's that M again. It was that same M that's right here. Look at that. That M that we talked about. And here it is on Miley Cyrus's here neck on 22, her tongue coming out party. And this tongue, I'm going to relate this tongue to an ancient deity named Quetzalcoatl later on. And that's going to be really interesting. You got to see that. But, you know, here's Miley with her M. And then here's another with her M. And then she's in her video of this song, We Can't Stop. And she's wearing that same, and I think this guy sticks his tongue out too. But it's all about sticking your tongue. Look at that. And I'm going to show you why I think they're sticking their tongues out, but a little bit later. So that brings me to, that shows you how the M relates to Webster in the MH of the flight number 370, MH370. And now here is how the H was in the videos in number 6 of 9. And I think this was in other places too, but here we go. The H. I saw this H is what I really first saw, and this H is a depiction of Pisces. There you go. Which is what else we've been talking about, you know. Now, M, I've been saying, is a depiction of the age of Aquarius, the Aquarians. Go back to the 5 points of the M, the pentagram. That's Aquarian. When you see that pentagram, that's the age of Aquarians, I believe, and other things. With what's going on in Webster. And, you know, when I caught that, I'm like, holy crap, there's the serpent, there's Pisces, and then when I went to their website, what's also is on here is 666. So this had it all. This isn't saying anything about this company. They're building a house there. I've been by there. Okay, so there you have it. I wanted you to see the H, and that, you know, it was in this video I made about Webster, and it stands for the age of Pisces. Now, the next thing I want to show you that is going to resonate with the Malaysian Air disappearance is this video 2 of 9, where I talk about the red and the blue. Okay, before I get to Katy Perry's Dark Horse video that I was mentioning, I want to point out a couple things that are relative to that video, actually, that happened here in Webster. That is William Spengler's mailbox, 191 Lake Road. Notice that is painted red. Okay, red and blue. I don't think I've mentioned this yet. I might have mentioned it on Mike's letter, but red and blue are very important in this. Red being bad, blue being good. And just to go back, and there's other reasons, you know, Mike, I think, represents the blue side of things. First of all, he was a policeman, obviously, and that is the blue. But in this letter, even, these blue rams I think I mentioned, these are usually red rams in pentagrams, and they represent the bad side, but these happen to get on an envelope to him, and they're blue rams, which I would say would represent the good side, or the blue. So the red, bad, blue, good, Mike represents the blue. Another reason I talked about, you know, the eye of the needle and all that stuff. Spengler went to the 666 hole or eye of the needle. They went to the good one. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. And that what I wanted to show you about the red and the blue, which brings me to the Malaysian Air logo. As you can clearly see, it is red and it is blue. And that, that's what I'm talking about here. And this is an E to me right here. And E is the fifth letter of the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E. Fifth age, which is the age of Aquarius. And I'm sure when I look at this a little bit more, maybe some other things will come to me on this. This almost looks like a double E, which I've seen can symbolize some things that I haven't researched enough to say right now. But I just wanted to point out that the Malaysian Air logo is red and blue, which takes me to the numerology of the flight. Okay, the M and the H, like I said, I think M represents age of Aquarius, H is age of Pisces. These two are battling for the age of Aquarius. The age of Pisces is coming to an end. The age of Aquarius is taken over. M is the 13th letter of the alphabet. H is the 8th. If you change those to their numeric numbers, it's 13, 8, 370. You add these together, 1 plus 3 plus 8 plus 7, and I'm missing a 3 in there, plus 3, get this right, so you got 138370, and that's 4 plus 8 is 12, plus 3 is 15, plus 7 equals, you ready for this? 22. There you have it. I believe that the Malaysian Air flight, the missing flight, has to do with the battle between the age of Aquarius, the age of Pisces, and I'm telling you, the age of Aquarius is going to be a magical age. It is no telling the technology they've used or whatever they've done to that flight, whether it's in a different dimension, a different time. And I'll tell you, my son came home with a book today that we bought from his book club, or from school, that you buy every month. And one of the books, I couldn't believe it, it's about time travel, and it's all about ancient Egypt. And I would love to show it to you, but it is copyrighted to the hilt. It is not, something that's, across the internet, because I would love to show you that book. It is everything that I have been showing you here. And it was just really interesting to see him come home with that today. But there you have it. Age of Aquarius, age of Pisces, 22. Okay, just to make sure that you understand the importance of the number 22 in this thing in Webster, and the Malaysian Air is, here you go, in
like
Webster.
I said, Spengler's house is 22 miles from the obelisk, and I saw that, it might be a little bit hard to read that, so I want to zoom in on a little bit, and you can see that that is 22 miles. From the obelisk to William Spengler's back porch. Now, once I saw that, I thought it was kind of strange enough that I wanted to kind of step back and...
Another angle of this Malaysian Air MH370 that came up on March 16th, that also was in my videos about Webster, is right here. The multi-nation hunt is now focused on two vast areas stretching from Kazakhstan to the southern Indian Ocean. So now they've involved Kazakhstan, which is real interesting because of what's going on in Kazakhstan and what I had in my video number 1, in what happened in Webster. And here's Kazakhstan.
This article, actually, I think this was actually came out in October or September, but I found it in November, right before Thanksgiving. And it was really this article, when this came out, that this pentagram is in the earth in Kazakhstan, that kind of set me into some information that
that led me back to Webster. So I went from Kazakhstan, believe it or not. I'm going to show you that this pentagram in Kazakhstan is actually linked to Webster. Not only linked to Webster, but linked to William Spangler's house. Now I know that's not...
And there you have it. So far, a lot of this stuff going on with this Malaysian Air, as far as, you know, the letters and the symbols, and now Kazakhstan, are kind of related. So I will, you know, of course, continue to follow this story with the Malaysian Air and see where it goes. Because in Kazakhstan right now, I think anything's possible. And I'm going to show you a little bit more that I found out in Kazakhstan, in Astana, and across the river or the lake from this pentagram.
Yeah. This pentagram is on a peninsula. You see that? It's surrounded by three sides. And by the way, this is out in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, now just see what I just said on this other video about this peninsula surrounded by three sides. What did Russia just take from the Ukraine, the Crimea, which is on a peninsula? Where did that plane go missing? On the southern portion of Vietnam, which is a peninsula.
There's nothing here. This is literally nowhere. There's a little tiny town somewhere over here.
And this is
over here
Kazakhstan.
But this is literally in the middle of nowhere. But anyway,
now look at this.
Here,
this thing is something I don't know what this is, but it's like some gadget that might actually be capable of making a plane disappear, for all I know.
V-looking thing.
Check this out.
If you look close at this, there's actually, I don't know if you can see them on this video.
This is in Kazakhstan.
There's lines, perfectly circular lines. Here's the center. There's a line. There's a circular diameter line, a circular diameter line, and they're all 2/10 apart. I don't know if you can see it. There's a line there, and there it is there, and it's 2/10. And then you go to the next one, which is right there, and it's 2/10. And it's 2/10. So they're all 2/10 of a mile apart in diameter. And like I said, I don't know if you can see it on this video, but it's pretty wild. You can kind of see the lines, and they circle these 2 points on the V. Okay? So you got circle, 2/10, circle, 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 and there's 13 of them on both of these, like an antenna of some sort. The interesting thing is what are they trying to communicate? With something above Earth or something in the Earth? I don't know. This is really kind of a weird thing. And this V is a 5. And by the way, I'll show you later, but I took the measurements of these and that triangle, what this triangle would make, and the angle based on how long these are, and I'll show you that later, is exactly 66.2211 degrees. This angle right here, 66.2211. When I calculated using an online calculator with the measurements of these three legs, which are all three different. This is not a right triangle, or a what do they call that when all sides are equal? But anyway, very interesting, and it's right next to this pentagram. And this thing here was kind of weird too. There's some peace sign looking thing in here, and this, I don't know. This looks like, I don't know what this looks like. It kind of looks like a gateway to the underworld to me. It's just really bizarre. And this over here, by the way, is an airstrip. And this is some patch that it looks like they're blocking something off Google Earth, because there's something underneath this patch here. This is something that was added. I don't know what that's trying to hide there, but this is an airstrip, which they did a good job of hiding. And then here, I think they changed this picture recently because there was a boat there. So, you know, it looks like to me people fly in over here on this airstrip, take a boat over this pentagram, and who the freak knows what they're doing at this pentagram?
Yeah, you know what? Who does know what they're doing at this pentagram? Are they making planes disappear? You know, this is Kazakhstan. So just some food for thought. You know what? Anything could have happened to that plane. Kazakhstan on Google Earth. Okay, we're gonna go back to Kazakhstan. This is basically Kazakhstan here out in the middle of nowhere. This is Europe here, Italy over here. You got, you know, China over here, Korea, Japan. But let's go back to Astana. I want to show you. This is to do with the Phoenix again. But this is Astana, Kazakhstan. And this is really interesting. And hopefully, there it is right here, okay? I'm going to show you this area right here in Kazakhstan. This whole section here is kind of interesting. But specifically about the Phoenix, where'd that Phoenix go? It's on the other side. Here we go. Bring this over. And this is into the ground in Astana. And here's your Phoenix here. This is actually a Phoenix. Here's the head, the wings, the tail. And this thing looks like it's ready to shoot off almost like into a pinball machine. I mean, it looks like this thing's going to go boom. And there's something's out of balance here. This looks like a balance beam that's out of balance. Here's a pyramid. This thing's going to go flying through here, over this pyramid, and almost like a pinball, jump up and bounce into one of these things. I mean, this is just a bizarre setup here. That's a pyramid. These are actually roads going through underneath this pyramid. And this just whole setup just looks like a giant pinball machine to me. And there's your Phoenix rising, and like I said, this is clearly showing that something is out of scale, out of whack, which is probably the world right now. I hate to say it, but I also want to point something else here. This right here, these bushes or whatever this is, if you look at this, this looks like a clock, and this looks like the Capitol, by the way. I don't know, this is in Astana. But this looks like a clock, and you got 0, 0, 0, 0. So, you know, I'm wondering if this clock was counting down or if it's at 0 counting up. But again, it just seems to me like it's something to do with the end of the age. And I also wanted to show you something too, because you see this is true north on this, and it's not up and down on your screen. So for the heck of it, I went like this, and I said I want to put that up and down on the screen, and that's about vertical, right about there. And I was kind of curious, for some reason after I did this, what the pentagram looked like. Now see where that north is facing. It's just a little bit over 90 degrees. But we go back to the pentagram. If I can find it, there it is. And see, now that we've rotated that key, it's almost like a key, what this pentagram did. And look at that. All of a sudden, it's a star. It's like the U.S. But anyway, I know before I mentioned this was 666 feet above sea level, but I noticed the camera wasn't low enough to see it. So you should be able to see that here. See that? Its hand is in the middle, and that's at 666 feet above sea level, that pentagram. To go back to that. 666 feet above sea level.